I've come to realize that my partner's a narcissist or that my parents are narcissists. I'm getting help for my problems, but they refuse to get help for their problems. They refuse to talk about what they've done and what they need to change. We just don't have those discussions. So what do I do? Is there any way to get them to look at their complex trauma or to look at understanding complex trauma? Is there anything I can do that would help them or make them want to change? Such a common question, but such an important question to think through, because so many people in recovery go through this. They all of a sudden realize they're in a relationship or that their parents who've been wanting them to get help, all of that. But all of a sudden now when you want to talk about your complex trauma and that they need to change, they need to look at stuff, they shut down. They don't want to go there. They refuse to go there. They keep basically saying, you're the sick one. You're the one that needs help. Just focus on you. We're not even going to do anything about us. And that presents huge problems. So that's what I want to explore. And this is going to be one of those questions I'm going to have to build kind of a scaffolding of a bunch of different pieces before I actually get to answering the question. So be patient with me as we work through laying out a framework to really understand and approach this question well. Let's begin with the bottom line. So there's a couple pieces in this bottom line that are important to understand. The first is this. You can't force anybody to change. That's the bottom line. But I grew up hearing you can take a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. But you can always put salt in their oats. In other words, you can do things that make them thirsty, that make them want to drink. And the same is true in recovery. Now, what you have to understand up front is the way to get your parents or your partner to want to understand complex trauma, to look at their complex trauma, to be willing to change, is not to nag at them. It's not to say, oh, I just took this course and you guys need to take it. Or I just watched this video, you guys caused my trauma. You're the problem. That's just probably going to backfire. That's going to lead to really a negative response, a defensiveness, and a total shutdown. So don't think you can nag them into change. Don't think you can take shots at them and make them want to change. Don't think that you can just confront them and tell them they're messed up and that they're all of a sudden going to want to change. The best way to get them to be open to change is if they see you changing. They see you getting healthy. They see you responding differently. All of a sudden, that's going to influence them, impact them, and potentially cause them to go, maybe I need to look at some stuff. So you have to really realize that the way to get my partner, my parents to be willing to consider change is that I have to be the change. I have to role model it. I have to change. And that potentially will put salt in their oats. That will give them a thirst, a curiosity to learn more and to be maybe willing to change. One of the things that you might do if you're in a relationship and don't do, but let's get this in balance, is this. Don't just idly threaten them saying, if you don't change, if you don't look at your stuff, if you don't watch these videos, I'm out of here. But you don't really mean it. That is really going to backfire. But you may need to sit down with your partner and say, unless I see some changes in you, some willingness to learn, this relationship's not going to work and I'm going to have to consider moving on. And that leads us to the rationale for that, which is the second bottom line. And that is realizing that a relationship can only work, or a relationship could only be healthy if both people are getting healthy in their individual life, which means that both people are willing to change. Both people are willing to work on their stuff. Both people are willing to learn and to grow as individuals. If only one person is changing, but the other person is remaining in their behaviors that aren't healthy, the one person being willing to change isn't going to create a healthy relationship. They can want it desperately. They can be willing to grow and change as much as possible. But if the other person is not willing to change, you will never end up with a healthy relationship. It is impossible. That is so important to understand, because so many people keep hoping that if they just change a little bit more, then the relationship will get healthy. No, it takes two to tangle. The other person, if they're not willing to change, the relationship will not work. And so that's why you may have to go to the other person once you realize they're not willing to change and say, hey, if you're not willing to change, then this relationship is done. Now, let me give you a big picture here as we build this scaffolding. What I have done much marriage counseling over the years, and what I have realized is when you get two people with complex trauma in a relationship, you end up with three sets of baggage. So person A comes in with their own individual baggage from their trauma from their past. Person B comes in with their individual baggage from their trauma from their past. Then as they live together, they create a third set of baggage, unresolved conflicts between them, unresolved issues. And so what typically happens when a couple comes to see me for marriage counseling is they're focused on the third set of baggage, the problems that have developed between them. They're hoping that I will give them tools, which usually is magical fix for the third set of baggage, and then their relationship will be fine. So in their mind, the issue is the problems that have developed between them. If they could just fix them, the relationship would be good. What I want them to realize is the third set of baggage came out of baggage A, baggage B that hasn't been dealt with, that hasn't been resolved. So the way to fix the third set of baggage is not some magical little tools, although we're going to have some tools. The way to fix the third set of baggage is person A's got to work on their baggage, person B's got to work on their baggage. And as they get healthier, then they can resolve the third set of baggage. So the bottom line is this: you can't fix problems in a relationship unless both people individually are willing to work on their individual stuff. Once they get to a healthy enough point, then they will learn tools to resolve some of the third set of baggage. But if they don't work on their own set of stuff, they're just going to create more and more third type of baggage. They cannot, just by magical tools, make that third set of baggage go away, because they're going to keep generating more and more because they haven't dealt with their own stuff. So what then are some of these foundation pieces to a healthy relationship? What is it that you have to work on and create in order to have a healthy relationship? And I say this because many people think there's some little magic fix to create a magic healthy relationship. No, a healthy relationship comes out of two people getting healthy and building a foundation of certain characteristics in the relationship. So getting healthy means both people have a humility. And that means both people are wanting to change, are wanting to grow, are willing to look at their stuff, willing to own their stuff. They don't go to this shame place that I got to make it everybody else's fault. I'm afraid to go there because it might make me look bad and everybody will reject me. They're willing to go there. They have to have this humility. But then a relationship has to have mutual respect, that you respect me as much as I respect you. It's not lopsided. It's not a one-way respect. Third, we have to be able to attach, to form secure, healthy connection. And most people coming out of complex trauma have never had secure attachment and don't know how to have secure attachment. Unless they learn that, they're never going to have a healthy relationship. Next, that includes you have to learn to be able to connect with yourself. If you're not able to connect with yourself in a secure way, you're not going to be able to connect with others. So learning connection is so critical. Next, if we don't learn to be able to trust each other, we'll never have a healthy relationship. So we have to be trustworthy, safe people where we can build trust. If we don't learn to accept each other for who we are, that doesn't mean we accept the harmful pieces. It means we accept the basic personality of each other, how we're wired, how we think, how we go about life. If we don't learn to accept who we are, we're never going to have a healthy relationship. If we don't learn to respect each other's boundaries and give each other space and learn when we are to meet each other's needs and when we have to let the other person meet their own needs. If we don't learn healthy boundaries, we'll never have a healthy relationship. And so that includes we both develop autonomy. We live together, we learn to connect with each other, but we're two separate people. We figure out how to do that. Then we have to be authentic. No mask, no role playing, no fawning. We have to be able to be real, to be genuine, to be open, to be vulnerable, and communicate openly. Those are the foundation pieces of a healthy relationship. Those only happen if both people are working to get healthy.